The motivation thing is, that word is so tricky. And I tie that in with passion too. That can run you pretty good. When it's there, I think it's a superior supplement for getting stuff done, but it's inconsistent because it's based off emotion. And emotions are part of life, and they come and they go. And that's where the discipline word comes in. And the discipline is like a very sharp tool that you get, but you have to keep it sharp.
Third time's a charm, eh, Morgan? This is cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're going to have another opportunity to chat.
I know
it's a blessing. I tell my wife, I'm like, these guys are like my guys that I like to talk to. And I was like, we're going on a third time. She's like, a third? I was like, yeah, we did one at SEMA too. She's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like I could go hang out and get food with you guys and stuff.
Yeah.
What happens when you hit 3 times though? I feel like 3 is like always the magic number.
Then you have to make it 4.
Oof.
That's very true. Yeah.
Bad luck.
Yeah. There's always going to be, there's going to be more. There's always going to be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to do the intro and then we're going to dive into this podcast. But welcome back to another episode of Modified with Trick Factory Customs. If this is your first time watching or listening, my name is Elvis.
Tim. And I'm Rob.
And we have an amazing guest that you guys are probably familiar with because we've had him on this is the 3rd time, I think now. We're just talking about it. But yeah, Morgan, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Morgan Clarke. Morgan Clarke Design.
Sweet. Awesome. Oh my goodness. It has been a while since what? November? Was that when
SEMA.
Yeah. What's happening?
Yeah.
Well, we could talk. I'm going to see what I'm going to do is I'm going to air some of my laundry out on a podcast.
I got questions unprepared this time. So
oof. Okay.
We got to hit my questions. I was going to throw Elvis under the bus and make this about him. Because Elvis struggles with motivation and following things through. So I was going to get your advice on how you do it, because I follow your stuff and every day you got me in the gym every single morning. So it's like, oh man, this guy went there at 5 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck? You're killing me, this guy. Yeah, so it's these things with him is I'm going to ask him how he powers through that. So the conversation got a little deeper than that, but
yeah, because
he needs some tips and tricks, because we just had a customer of ours on that we're doing a blower Bentley for, and he's like, you got to do something every day, no matter how small it is. Every single day, it's got to be something for the project. So that resonated with him, but
yes,
he needs to stay.
I have too many projects, and the thing now is that I got a lot of those projects before I had a kid, before life got so much busier and crazier, because I also have my business that I do, media and all of that. So my attention is divided in so many ways, and it's hard. It's so difficult to focus on one thing. And so I have projects, again, like cars that have been sitting around for years, and I've had these grand plans of that have not come to fruition just because there's things are either so busy or I find an excuse not to do those things. And so recently I'm trying to see if I can maybe downsize and just focus on one thing. And so that's what I've been talking with them about, because they've always been okay, you have too many things, and try to focus on one thing. And so I'm not sure how to do that. So recently I have it's a Datsun, but I've been trying to chip away at it, like he said. So the past few weeks, the guy that was here, he talked about chipping away at one thing, doing, even if it's a little bit, every single day at that project. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens. And I did it for a week or two, and now the whole motor is out. And I've been struggling to think about what to do, and just been humming and hawing for months. And so in the past week, the motor is out. So that's a big part of it. But then the problem, I think, is going to be now staying motivated on that particular.
Putting one back in.
So Elvis, you're able to work on multiple personal cars?
Not right now. No. Now I'm just.
I might need the advice from you. Holy moly. You get to work on personal stuff?
I know.
There's 2 angles to that. One of the angles is, I listened to Andy's podcast this morning, and it's his first one he's done where he has people call in.
Okay.
And he talked about investment into yourself, and so I have to go down this route really quick. It's the same thing when they give you instructions in when you're flying and the air masks come down, the first thing you do is you give it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so you are able to take care of your kids.
I've used that analogy with him like 100 times.
No fucking way.
You gotta get your own shit together first before you can help anybody else.
So my perspective with that analogy is just the investment in myself. I go to the gym and I do those little things in the morning because I need those little wins for myself to get momentum for the bigger stuff, and it helps me. There's the reason I like timestamp my stuff is my own accountability. It's not like, hey bitches, I'm up early, huh? Because then a lot of times I'm fucking late, and I'm like, oh my, and every bit of me doesn't even want to fucking post it or do it because I'm late. But the bottom line is I do it because no matter what, every day I still do it.
Yeah.
And I get these wins where then I go in the gym, and what the gym does for me is my brain, I feel like I have just balloons on strings that are going up with my jobs and projects and life and people I should call and text. And every time I physically exert like myself in the morning, I can just pull a fucking balloon down and I can focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can like put it away somewhere. It's what I do to find some kind of like clear, non-foggy shit in my brain. And I think even, because we're all doing this, right? We're all managing projects, but for myself, I run a whiteboard, and then I have a thing on there, and the frequency of me using it is probably 70%, 30% I forget, but I have a whiteboard, and it's like a daily and a weekly, and then tasks that I break down. So even Elvis, if you have a bunch of stuff, I just write every project you have, what you want to get done. And I think even that for your brain is really good. Not putting it on your phone, not typing it, writing it. And then I think if you're doing stuff like that, it has to just be one chore at a time. If you have a certain amount of time you think you can do something, I'd just treat it like a video game, dude. I got 4-hour chunk to do this, and what can I get done in 4 hours? And then just do not do shit else but that, that's it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That the whiteboard thing is actually pretty good. I'd never thought about that before, because you're right. It is a very different thing having writing it on your phone, but it's probably a different thing in your brain to see it there as a physical board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still do the same thing. I have to write it on paper, and then I hand it off to our girl to type it. Because I get out of my head easier just writing it on paper, making notes. I can't put it in my phone. I don't know why. I just immediately distracted. I get a text while I'm doing it, and then I'm off doing
Instagram.
The digital thing is
I use notes a lot in my phone, but I do it for like checklists because of my guys. Like same with my guys. I have a cut list for them. We have multiple text groups for different vendors, because the other thing I did, and I know this is kind of a tangent, but same thing I caught myself with ordering parts, ordering material, ordering abrasives. We buy a lot of stuff from one supplier, ordering stuff from them so they could tell me throughout the day, hey, we need this, hey, we need that. And I tried that. I burned that shit to the ground, because they'd be like, we need to order tube connectors, blow off a cord. Okay, I'll get it, and then either I have to stop what I'm doing right there, or I have to think that I'm going to collectively get all their shit done by the end of the day. And I just didn't. So what I did with the guys is I have them all, and I trust them, and I'm able to oversee it. So I've included myself and all of them, and, even my wife that does a lot of our online ordering, all of that is in a separate text bodies for the abrasives, for the materials, for, CarTech off-road, for all this stuff. So then when the guys need something, they just put it in there. And if they're buying some shit that costs $2,000, then at least I can see and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what are you doing? But most of it, I just see it, and then it's streamlined, and then it preserves my thought process and my flow with stuff. And then on top of that, when you go back to the invoice, or you need to say, hey, where's that part at? You go look up the group chat. Where's it at? Did you order it? And then someone, oh, I forgot to. Or, Taylor, did you order that? Oh, it's a super nice way of accountability and then streamlining. Same with abrasives. If they get down and there's one or two things left, don't come get me. Just put an order in, because I'm gonna come storming up your ass if I pull the last one and I need,
Yeah.
So I think it's same with notes with a client. Anytime I go over stuff with a client, I don't rely on my brain anymore, because I know it's good at storing information. But when you get to a point when you're managing a lot, it's just not responsible to try to hold all that in your brain. And I put it in notes, and then the greatest part is same with clients. If they're like, well, we need to adjust this, we need this. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. I just get on my phone and I put it all there. And then the nice part, I reread it right to them. We're going to do this, and they go, yep, 100%. Boom. And then I can fire that off to my guys. That's in a group text. The thing with the whiteboards for projects, I did that out of necessity because I'm like, okay, I think I have 6 projects. I'm going to write them all out because my guys were even feeling, we have meetings every week and they're feeling scared. We're like, what's going on? What with this and that? And this was years ago. And I'm like, I'm going to get some whiteboards and I'm just going to write out each project. And I thought I had 6 and there was 13. Prime example. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit, dude. Like different phases. And so at least it gets you there in that ability. There's a nourishment that gives you momentum. It's the same with like exercising and working out and clearing your head and doing the same wins every day. It's the same thing. When you can go to that whiteboard and you can cross stuff off or you can erase stuff, you see it happening. There's something with the human brain that it likes that. And you just keep doing it and it gives you that momentum. And that's why you might want to if you have this project you need to work on, just write down all of the things you just geek on that thing for a minute and write down everything you can think that needs to be done in the, clear and present future. Not to final, but just something where you'll feel like you got a lot done. And then I just pick at that thing, figure out what's not going to cripple you, what you can, if you only have a small block of time, then look at the list. What can I do right now that's not going to be like in the way of getting something else done? You know what I mean? And then you bang that thing out and you're done. The other thing I do with my focus, a lot of people, like I talk to a lot of my old buddies and stuff that are not a lot, but a couple, and they'll be like, I just can't focus, dude. I got so much and people are calling me and this and that. And it's just about delegating the time. My phone, it knows it, like it's programmed for work mode. So when I go when I'm here at the shop, nobody gets through unless it's my team of people. Nice. That's it. And if I take a shit and I go open that phone, I sure see all of it. And it's on me to not, dive off into the waters of, but it does something where it doesn't create a rhythm of interruption until I'm ready to let it interrupt. And that's the thing is I just delegate my time the right way where I am not a night owl anymore like I used to be. So I'm a morning person. And if my precious time is this fucking time we're on right now, but my precious time is always the morning. And so my phone knows from when I get there and at 1:30, it turns off and it lets stuff come through and it lets me do my thing normally where I know then that I can take bites of the other stuff, but I think just like Andy talks about a get shit done list, which is just a power list. 5 things for the day, just 5. Don't be the fucking hero and be like, well, I can get 15 done. I'm going to just figure that out if you can just get the 5. Because sometimes I do a power list of 5 things and it's Friday. And I'm like, well, I got 3 done, So I think it's about visually unpacking the stuff because in your brain, it's going to feel 10 times more scattered. At least you can lay out a blueprint and look at it. And then you can be like, holy fuck, this is a ton of shit. Oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. But at least it's on paper. Right. Then you can just scratch at it. And it's not this mental thing. I feel like the more stuff I put in there that I don't unpack, the harder it is for me to understand how to complete it.
I resonate deeply with that too. Yes. Writing it down, seeing it is a very powerful tool. I find that if I were to put it in my phone, it just gets lost in the digital abyss. Like I never look at it ever again. Yeah. But writing it down and seeing it, you can like really start to prioritize kind of like the things that you want to do or not do. You're like, you know what? That project, that's not for me, not for this time. That one's gone. Get rid of it. And then just, focus.
Running your business, that's a lot of things, a lot of people to manage and a lot of things. And so is that the only thing that you use as a kind of like that you constantly go back to, or do you have someone to kind of like guide you or no?
Well, that's why I said you had a complex question because you unpacked all these projects and time management and your family and your new family and the motivation thing is that word is so tricky because I tie that in with passion too. And those are kind of the same. They do the dance together. And I ran so much, and I think the first time we talked about we talked on a podcast, I talked about passion, and that can run you pretty good when it's there. I think it's a superior supplement for getting stuff done, but it's inconsistent because it's based off emotion. And emotions are part of life, and they come and they go. And for a lot of times, especially through years of addiction and alcoholism, I was such a fucking pussy where if I didn't feel like doing something, I didn't do it. That's it. That was my way of thinking. I'm not feeling today. I wouldn't do something. What the fuck? And so that's where the discipline word comes in. And the discipline is like a very sharp tool that you get, but you have to keep it sharp. That's the whole thing with discipline, because even with 75 Hard, I was on that, and I was extremely sharp, and it was all things, diet and health, and, it tuned me up so heavy for success and getting stuff done. But it doles out, and so the daily stuff that I do is strictly based on discipline. And that's the whole thing, is I have to keep it well oiled. So no matter what, if I am instilling discipline in myself. If I wake up early and it sucks, if I go to the gym and I don't feel like going to now I have to feed this horse, right? So I feed this horse before I go to the gym every day. And then if I don't want to go, I just fed the horse, I just really go to work. No, just go. It doesn't matter. And it's instilling the stuff, because then that reflects every bit of discipline's a tight one, where even if you see a piece of tape that's stuck to the ground in the shop that you've walked by 3 times, what the fuck are you doing?
That's right.
Pick it up. How long are you going to let that shitty pile of parts sit under the truck? And every time you go, that looks like shit, that needs to move. Why is that there? And you walk past it. It's all the same deal. And so if you don't take action when you think about those things, it's the same stuff. How are you going to get these big chunks done of having to show up and work on a car, and get these things done? And so I just, the motivation thing is great when it's there. I can talk like this when I'm good. And then when I'm in this dark, terrible, hopeless phase, you get into the darkness, and then that motivation stuff is gone. Your passion's gone. Everything sucks. I can't get this done. I'm too busy. I have a kid. I have a newborn, whatever. And then it's all gone. And so it is no matter what, doing something, setting a goal, and then doing it, whether it's small or big. It's that you need to nourish the discipline by knowing that you did that because you needed to, not because you felt like it, and you got it done. And that builds these bricks of armor to keep doing that.
That's so good. When I heard Oliver talk last week about doing just one little thing at a time. And even if it's raining or it's, because I also don't have the benefit of, or I don't have a garage to work on. So I'm just outside in the gravel. And it rains here 95% of the time. And so I just tried, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to see what happens. Even if it's a little bit, even if I take off one bolt for this engine, even if I take off one little thing, it's just to do it. And to my surprise, it gave me, when I did one, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm actually closer than I thought I was in getting this done. And it felt good. It felt really good to get that done. So it's definitely something that I'm trying to put in my life more. So yeah, I appreciate you talking about that, because if I don't do it, who will? There's no one that's gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna help you finish this car that you started to tear apart by yourself.
That side of it is we've always encouraged these guys to do stuff and offer to help, but it's kind of based on their own personal investment. So if you're not doing anything, I'm not going to do anything. So it's once they
can only pull equal or less weight than the primary.
Yeah. So if you guys are invested, I'll help you with anything you got. But if you ain't doing shit, I'm not doing shit.
Totally.
Yeah. But one question I also had was, how do you not get overwhelmed with stuff? Because taking apart a wiring harness for the car or taking apart, I'm like, should I just cut this wire or should I save it? I think about, for example, what it would look like new and everything looks nice. And I'm like, should I still keep that wiring harness there? Compromise versus get starting again, or just using what I have is kind of like right now, I'm not sure of what route to go because I know you guys have talked about just like, don't cut anything, just unplug it, leave it there. But to me, I'm like, it's going to look like a 50-year-old piece of wire. And I'm like, why do I want that in there type thing? And so I'm still trying to decide on what route to take regarding that or going too far.
That's a constant with every build and every project. And I think that there's very simple equations for that based off of time and money, and expectation. How is that going to affect your end goal with this car? Because if you nitpick all that little bullshit, which sometimes it's not little bullshit and it's definitely important bullshit, but what is the end goal? What is the end vision? You have to key that in every time. And it's super hard when it's not OCD, but when you're a craftsman or you have a good eye for detail, you want to fucking get everything. I need to put a radius on that little thing, and I need to, and you get so neurotically lost in the details that don't even fucking make sense that then you're never going to finish. I think it's always holding the thing out here of what that end goal needs to look like, feel like, sound like, all of that, unless you're just going all out and that's your end goal.
Yeah.
What were you guys going to say? Sorry.
That's what I was going to say, like, because I've done it to myself in the past where you get in that mindset and then it's like you dig the hole so deep. So it's like, do all the things that you need to do. And then if that bothers you later on, come back to it. Like once you're driving, having a good time, like, oh, I'm going to do a wire tuck now. I'm going to do this. But I see all these kids, especially, it's like they take the whole thing apart, like just blow it into 100 pieces. I'm going to get a brand new everything. They cut, destroy, wreck, grind off, and fucking, and then they have nothing. And then the climb back, I was like, man, you just got to focus on what you want to do. And then those things you can circle back and clean up later on. Like it doesn't need to be all at once. So.
Yeah, and I think you put it so right. Like,
I agree.
Having like a very clear sort of idea of what the objective that you're trying to meet is. Like, okay, what is the purpose of this project, Elvis? Like, how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go? And like you said, money, resources, time, all of these things, skills. It's a big part of it. Like, do you have the skill set in which to fucking dig out of that rabbit hole if you go that deep? Like, I mean, these are all very real things, right?
Yeah, at least for me, it was always, I remember specifically doing this when I was younger and throughout the business is you do just cut it out. We're going to redo it anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's fucked. And I remember when I did that younger build my Explorer and I was like 21 years old. If I had to buy a shock package for that's 25 grand, what's that going to take for time? A year?
Right.
So, and I would be like, well, we're going to run big shocks on it anyways. Well, we're going to run this anyways. Well, we're going to, and it's the most insane apocalyptic thing to do ever to build. And people do that. And then they're stuck forever. And I think a gift, and Elvis, take what you need and leave the rest. Cause a lot of my perspective is from it being a business now. The gift for some builders and craftsmen and designers is to know where to draw the line. Cause a lot of the stuff, this might be a tangent, but I see a lot of builders get so caught up in details that honestly don't matter, and I think it's like an ego thing. That they're like they have an inconsistent, like they're insecure to the point where like, well, I have to get this part done because it needs to be perfect because and it's like based off other people or whatever, and it's crippling. Because if it's the end goal that you're going for, what does that need to look like? Because the success is going to come in how quickly you can accomplish that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've seen some wild things. Like you'll get projects that people have blown apart and it's like, yeah, I got a whole bunch of new parts. And it's like, I have new bushings and new universals. And you're like, well, your car, you have a shell here. And you thought that the first thing that you needed to buy was new suspension bushings? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Well,
man.
for trucks, what they love to do with trucks?
What?
They love to go on Amazon or eBay and get those special headlight and tail lights.
My top priority.
I got these halo projector LED headlights, and it's like a tube chassis truck. You're like, that was $159.99. Okay.
Yeah.
it's so easy to just go down that rabbit hole of cut everything out. Like I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna get to that part. But yeah, like it never happens. And case in point, that had literally happened with my 73 Jag. Initially, I was just gonna put an engine in it, but then I was like, might as well. You're in there, might as well take the wiring harness apart. Oh, might as well take off the whole interior. Might as well make it a whole shell. And now it's still like that, and it's not to come back together yet.
Yeah.
So
We have one. We built this really nice 60 Impala convertible. This car had been apart for like 30 years, had 5 different owners, and it was going from shop to shop to shop, or owner to owner to owner. But they didn't just take the car apart; they took the parts apart. So it's like they didn't just take the door handle off; they took the door handle off and then took the door handle apart.
No.
So that one was
Same with the gauge cluster. Like
Yeah,
they literally dismantled every gauge faces, the needles, everything was like
in little bags.
completely blown apart. You're like, what the fuck? And this is a 1-year car, and there's like almost no like
There's no
literature,
iterator.
any diagrams to put it back together. Like, no wonder. That's 30 years, man. Like, you can. Good luck putting that back together.
Like the last couple years, the dream is always to have a property with a shop on it, consolidate everything, not be paying rents.
Yeah.
And for a couple years, probably 2 years now, I've been on the hunt for property. And I had an investor that was going to help me. And I've never had help in my life with anything. I've never had any handouts. I've never had investments and just nothing. And I'm grateful for that. And I like to be able to say that, but at the same time, it sucks. And I had this guy that was going to help, get. At first, we were looking at houses and trying to find a property. It'll cut me off when you need to. We're trying to find a property that had a house on it and a shop. And the size of shop that I need, everybody that's building these barns and shops, it's 2,500 square feet, 1,500, maybe 3. I need 6 minimum. So we couldn't find it. And then we go to getting land, and this will all make sense. I'm going to tie this off. It turned into looking for land, and then we started living this big dream out. All right, we're going to get some acreage. We're going to put our horses on there. We're going to build out this barn dominium. We're going to build out a separate shop. And I got so deep into it to the point of a deposit on land, and then I got to the point of going down to the county of San Diego and talking to them about permits and what we can get away with, and getting family members involved, and just that expectation. I'm already like holding my kid outside on a porch of a barn dominium that's not even there, and doing all that wild future tripping.
Oh, you went.
Yeah. No, that's smart, man. There's a lot of power in that, so that's cool.
That's what I think a lot of us do with even the visions with cars and stuff, and then that's why it's so upsetting. Sometimes you have that expectation, and then it drops. It's devastating when it doesn't meet how you already smell it and see it and feel it and hear it and everything. And so the shop, that's been like greatest point of achievement, is thinking I'm going to have this land and this house and be doing this construction. And it fed a lot of my life throughout the last even 6 months or a year, where I was logging that data in the back of my brain that was going to happen. And even through SEMA, I'm carrying, you don't realize it, but then you start carrying yourself differently based on this thing that you think you're going to get. And it masks a lot of your current life stuff, because even if your shit's not together, there you have this silver lining that's making everything glow differently. So through SEMA, and then PRI was our next adventure. Those were all beautiful, and I went through those with this notion that we're going to close on this property at the end of December, before the 1st. And it fell through. Everything fell through. And we're talking monumental devastation with my family, and here's the deal. The person that was going to help me was one of my clients, right? Of course. And so it hindered some progress on a specific vehicle because I couldn't fucking work on it. And usually I talk about having discipline and not being emotionally attached, and I hit a new level of, I can't work on this project right now. I can't even focus on it. I can't. I gave in. There was moments because we were counting on this thing, and it sucks because it was an outside resource that we were banking on for help. And we did everything on our part. It was nothing personal, but this other party didn't have their stuff in order, and they drug it on too long, and they should have put a foot down and said they can't do it. And it put my wife and I into a deficit at home where there was just depression and darkness, and like we weren't fighting, but we lost all hope.
Yeah.
And then it put a light on like my business and how much shit I feel like I don't have together, and these loose ends it felt like like I said, that everything was glowing differently. And then the lights went off and you're like, oh my, holy shit, you know, I need to get this in order. This is in order. This truck, we need to finish this, where this is in the red, this, you know, all this crazy shit. So that's why when you talk about the progress on the Dakar, I had some hurdles like emotionally that I couldn't get through. And usually I'm a tough guy. I couldn't. It was just I had to take a breather on it, and it was also a business breather, because like I said, I had to get this other perspective where I'm like, we need to finish this. This needs to leave. This has been dragging on forever. Just pause this shit. Finish this. Get this. You know, I've been doing a lot of housekeeping. The silver lining, you know, or the best lining here is, we bought a property and it's all me, and I did everything, and I have a 6,000 square foot shop, and I got 5 acres, and I got places for my horse and a house. That's amazing. Cheers, yeah, everybody. And nobody knows this. This is a secret.
Wow.
So it's incredible how the world works, because I weathered that storm, and it was so heavy. I had every option to fuck my life up at that point. And what I mean by that, I go out, drink, party, like just run from it, at whatever cost.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I sat in this extreme discomfort and hopelessness, and I just showed up every day, and I'm like, whatever I got to do, just wake up, go to the gym, work, put my head down, work. And I did it. And I worked with a friend who's a real estate agent and stuff, and we literally did it all on our own. And now I don't have anybody tied into this thing. And our whole life is going to change, you know. And right now I got 2 guys working at the shop, and then I have 2 guys down there building infrastructure into this new shop at the property. So that's why I was like, it'd be cool to get on, because I'm going through this crazy transition right now, and I wanted to like key you guys into it and, you know, share with you.
Well, that's fucking incredible, man. What a crazy journey. You have an amazing way of putting words to your space there. We can relate in many ways. Like
we're doing the exact same thing right now.
We're like always just like do it yourself kind of guys. Like get her done. Like and there's a lot of power in that. And like how you're talking about like finding that glow, like that is I've never heard anybody say that before, but that's a real thing, and it can completely overpower everything else going on.
You get a lot of it, and it seems like, especially when you're doing projects for certain people, they're always dangling that carrot, which is like, and then if you lean into that, everything else seems to fall apart. So like right now we're doing sort of the same thing. Like we're consolidating spaces and setting everything up the way we always wanted to set it up. But it's like, there's been like it's not really negativity, but it's kind of taking back control of all these different situations with these different people, because we let them push and push and push and get out of control. And it's kind of funny because of like the psychology of it is like, even just asking them to take their stuff home, it's like they think you're breaking up with them. So then it's like this weird thing. You're like, no, man, I just need my space back. Like we want to, you know, open this place up and get more efficient. Can you take all your shit home? Like we're not going to use it. But as soon as you tell them they take this, like they have a toe in the pool or something, it's like, take your stuff home, and then they act weird for a month. So it's been an interesting transition, and yeah, it's weird. But I hear other stories, like I listen to other people's podcasts, and it's like, yeah, we have this guy came in, he wanted to help us, he did this, and now we're this. And you're like, where is that guy? But then our experience is more along yours, where it's like they say all this shit, but it's like dangling the carrot to get their stuff done. And as soon as it's done, that all sort of fades away, and you're like, oh, well, now we're back at the beginning again. So it's
totally.
But I mean, the bottom line is like how you're describing, like you every day you get up, you put your head down and you get to it. And like, even if your momentum is like just very, very small steps, it's still forward movement. And that's sometimes what it takes. And like, you're wading through what seems like a fucking like a pile of shit. Your life is just feels like shit. It's really, really hard, but you put your head down and you're moving forward. And it's
funny because when you come out of it, you don't really know you're out of it. Because it's like, I just sort of,
I've gotten, go ahead.
Like, we just sort of retract and same thing. You just lock the door. Like, it's kind of been a joke, but like for the last month and a half, like we lock the doors. Because the people that are bitching the most about their shit taking too long are the ones that are taking all of our time.
Yeah.
So they'll come and burn up a half a day talking about it's taking too long. So we started locking the doors and you just start powering down and doing stuff every day. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, things are not as bad as I thought they were. But there's a couple of points where it's like, I'm going to burn this bitch down.
I'm telling you, I agree. And I just, the way I look at this now is I live a different life than I used to. And I don't need to get into all that, but I don't ever give up. And when I've gotten like this last one, everything, I question my career. I question if I should be doing this stuff. I'm talking when things go dark, go dark on me, I'm like questioning my whole life. What good am I a fucking joke? Why am I doing this? Am I 40 years old? Am I supposed to be fucking building like, I looked at everything.
Yeah.
And then I get, and then when you're going, here's how I look at this now. When you're going through this extreme like change and I hate that douchey shit where you're like leveling up. Yeah. But come on, it's terrible. But that's the best way to put what's happened right now. And I feel this threshold of everything fucking me, and not in a good way. And I'm like, is this a test? And that's what I look at now. I go, okay, I see that, because it's put me in so many low spots where sometimes I'd be so overwhelmed in my head and so hopeless. And like, we got our asses kicked with the T100 and the steering and all this stuff's happening. 5-year-old client coming in, hey, well, I'm ready for my truck. And then, like just weird shit. Yeah. Everything happening at once. I'd be so exhausted that like sometimes I'd tell my wife, hey, I'm going to say goodnight. It's like 7 p.m. on a Friday. Wow. I got to say goodnight to kids. I'm turning my phone off and going to sleep, And I realized all that was just my like method of getting through. And then I realized all that's a test, because then the next tier that you get to, it's like the universe is preparing you. Hey, you're going to fuck this up. You're going to fuck this up. You're going to give up. You're going to give up. You're going to give up. And it has to instill over and over enough of a load that then when you get to the next one, it's like a security device. You're passing the security test to make sure you're not going to fuck up what you're going to get next.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's where I feel like I'm like, oh my. And I still, nothing's changed. I'm not in a celebratory phase, but boom, now I'm just here. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, now we own this thing. Now like, oh shit. Like if nothing has changed, it just creates this, it establishes you. And I think that's the constant thing I see with you guys and myself. And we don't build stuff for corporations. So it's always, you have to find the right line with boundaries, because you can't keep the same boundary. That's what I realized with my clients. It's great when you talk to you guys, they're like, bottom line, don't talk to them on the weekends. Bottom line, 6 p.m., don't answer the phone. Guess what? Some of your best clients, they need that shit.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're trying to break your boundary, and it's not that they're being careless, but that's what they require with their relationship. And every single one is so fucking different that you have to like gauge your own boundaries based off of what works to keep that relationship going.
Yeah, so very true.
The personalities that we have to deal with is like, it's fucking crazy. Like, one guy's one way, the other guy's the other way. And then as soon as you put up any kind of boundaries, it just immediately destroys the relationship. And you're like, and I don't think a lot of these guys understand just how emotionally invested we get into these things. So like, a lot of the big struggle that we have is we're trying so hard to go over the top and do everything perfect, and for some reason try to save the money, like, and you put all this time and effort in, and then it's just like, okay, cool, when's it gonna be done? You're like, buddy, I'm fucking killing myself over here, and you can't even just take a minute to appreciate what we just finished. You're worried about the next thing already. It's like, it's such a roller coaster. So just, there's times where it's just like, why am I doing this? Like, I should just go get a paycheck.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you see those people, you're like, man, you look sad. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd rather be angry than sad.
I agree. I think it's just no matter what, having purpose in life and quality of life. There's plenty of people, and I don't know if we talked about it last, there the first time, but there's plenty of people that can go and watch the football game, and they can go 9 to 5, and they can be, construction or working in a cubicle. And I'm really grateful for those people. And I sometimes I wish I had that, but I need that sense of purpose to create and to be able to design and use my imagination every day and have solutions and challenges and that builder mentality, everything under that, the umbrella of the clients and their personalities and the fuckery is worth it, to be able to be the human that you feel like you want to, that you need to be.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. No matter how hard it gets, it's still worth it, no matter what.
It's just, I just don't think it's part of what people consider what we do is. Like, it's such a big part of it. Like, you're literally managing these people, managing personalities, managing all this kind of stuff, because this is their dream and you're doing it for them. So it's such a weird relationship. Like, it's now trying to find customers that we gel better with, that don't have this crazy expectation, because a lot of them want to do wild shit. And when they bring it to you, it's like you should be almost thankful or privileged. And it's like, you wouldn't be here if I hadn't already proven myself. So let's have a little bit of mutual respect for this situation and do something awesome, rather than, I'm not beholden to you. Like, I don't work for you. I'm doing work for you. Yeah. So it's like, it's a weird thing, man. It's like, even in this last 3 months, it's been a lot of that. So I feel for what you had to go through, because we've been doing the same, like a lot of just recentering, getting things organized.
It's weird. I think that, like, I've talked to a lot of people, not even in the the automotive industry, but just people in general. Something happened over like December and January and a little bit of February. Everybody went through some kind of weird turbulence.
Yeah.
Even some of my clients are like, it's just been fucked, like with whatever they have going on, different context.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of chaos. Nobody really knows how all this stuff is going to play out. So it's just like, it's at the top of everybody's mind. So everyone's just kind of standing, waiting to see how good or bad it's going to get. So,
have you guys been affected by tariff stuff at all? Does it work up? I mean, you don't have any effect by that, right?
No, we do, because Canada put like a counter tariff on it, but it's like a blanket counter tariff. So like the tariffs that he applied, like, I understand, but that would only, apply to a small portion of what the end product is. Here, it's just 25% on retail.
Everything. Yeah.
So if you spend 10 grand, now it's 12.5. So it's like the other way. If it was just on the part that is like on the raw material, it might have impacted, by like 2 or 3% overall. But this is just like, you hit the border, it's 25%. So it's going to beat the shit out of everything here.
Yeah.
I deal with some vendors that, get their stuff overseas, like parts for us. And he said it was 81%. It's going to be a price change of 81%.
Oh my gosh.
And so this is for some of the plumbing stuff. Like for like AN fittings and things.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. What do we do here? Because that makes you really, like, even if you have a relationship with a vendor like that, you have to like recalibrate what you're doing, like, all the way.
Yeah.
So if that's any sign of like what's supposed to happen, then it's gonna be weird on a lot of levels.
Well, especially for these existing builds, because everything just went up that much, like right away. Yeah. So like, if you're coming into it knowing, that's different. But if you're halfway through, now your build's 50, 100 grand more than what you planned for.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
What are you guys working on?
Everything. Actually, realistically, right now, we're just working on the shop. Yeah. Like, we got a bunch of stuff out being made by other people that we just had to for the sake of time. And then now we're just trying to get the shop organized and clean out dead projects. And because we have so much awesome stuff coming up that it's just these long dead projects that are stringing along are just, we had to get rid of them. And then consolidating space, and we grew so fast that we're spread out all over the place and it just wasn't efficient. And then now we're storing cars, like 10 cars. So it's like, hey, if we send all these people stuff home, we can cut our overhead by half. So let's do that. Yeah. And that's what we've been focusing on.
Yeah, complete reinvention of the shop. Our our whole atmosphere, the way we sort of, what we're prioritizing, downsizing into like way less floor space. That's going to be really nice. Where we live, floor space is super expensive.
We're increasing our workspace, but downsizing our floor space because we're just not letting people bring stuff here. Because they think it's like a cheat to bring their car, like, oh, just whenever you can get to it. Next thing you know, we got 20 cars around here, and it's just, it's so overwhelming visually that we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, so we're
totally relate to that.
Yeah, we're trying our hands at a couple of different outside sort of sources. Like right now, we're eagerly awaiting and anticipating the arrival of some CNC sheet metal formed pieces that we're making for a Mustang project, some rear flares.
We're getting beat up on that too. Man,
we could shape them by hand the old-fashioned way, like normal, right? And that was an option, but we're like, well, we got enough things on our plate that we can keep moving forward on other things if we farm that out and try this. Yeah. The price point on it is probably equivalent to making it by hand, but we can, design it, scan it, model it in digital space, and then just mirror it, and then have it made while we're doing other things. So we're trying that. Sure. We have a full body sheet metal forming project on a 30-something Delahaye,
right? Le Mans race car. So
that we're intending to
try this thing because we saw Brian Fuller and all those guys do it. So it's kind of an interesting thing to try, but like on the internet, it's like, you guys suck. You're sucking all the soul and everything.
I know. All the
that's
just noise.
We're just trying to get it done here. Like we gotta, participate, or we're gonna get left behind.
Sure. Yeah, it's just interesting, but like the bottom line is we're changing our shop, we're reinventing it, and we're pretty stoked on it.
Good.
We've always been like of the same mindset where we've wanted to buy a place. We don't own our place either. But there was always so much other sort of like noise clutter that we could never sort of make that transition to buy our own place because like efficiency and everything wasn't quite there yet. But
and we've been at this for a long time. So just getting here now, like going through all the different steps, it's like it's been a journey. But now we're kind of back at the beginning, which is weird.
In a cleaner way, though. I think more efficient and cleaner,
Yeah, for sure.
So
I remember when I first started, working up, I share the same building as Evan Weller, and he was kind of just giving me work. And then, he's like, if you get jobs, he gave me this terrible mentality really early on. This was over 5 years ago. And he goes, dude, just fucking just have them drop the cars off. Just bring the cars. And I don't think he realized what was going to happen. And so that turned into my motto, where then, where we have cars under car covers and tarps and shit outside everywhere. And, and then I'm talking to landlords about how many places we actually get to put out here. And I think getting, like you said, the dead projects out, for me, a lot of those dead projects feel like I didn't manage them properly financially.
Yeah.
And I don't like to really admit, I'm not proud of that, but I think that was part of my learning curve. I never had a huge amount of capital to start the business. And so, if we weren't getting paid on stuff, or robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. And it's great now, but it took these years of fucking these things up. So a lot of my getting dead projects out has been just sacrificing financial stuff, just anything we can to get them out, to move on, because the same with you guys, all of my future stuff is amazing. Then I haven't tarnished any of that, so it's really just one by one seeding out these things that kind of the projects that grew with me, with the company when I started. I'm just getting them out of here.
Yeah, we're in a decent spot that way because we don't have money on a lot of this stuff. So when you're like, hey, we're not interested, you can just take it. And then that makes them even more confused. They're like, what do you mean?
For sure.
You're like, well, you just like, we're at the end of the road. You don't have the money to finish it. We're not interested in finishing it. So it's just got to go. And then COVID kind of messed up a bunch of shit too, because we had a bunch of stuff pulled right at the beginning. So we did the big panic thing and took in a whole bunch of shit because oh man, this is going to be the end of the road, because we had other businesses. And the weird thing is we ended up getting rid of the other businesses, and somehow this business got way busier than it ever was, because for some reason here in Canada, they're giving out money like crazy. So everybody just started spending. So we ended up expanding and getting busier and doing all this shit. And then, some of these projects I'm just not at all interested in. So when you look at it, it's like, I'd rather be digging a ditch than working on this thing. So I'm not going to tell what customers as well. But we're not doing it we're doing it disservice too, because we're just not engaged in it at all. So we're just trying to get smaller where we can get things that do engage us. And we're lucky enough to have some awesome customers. So I'd rather focus on their stuff and, be happy to come here rather than digging our way through it. But
totally. And I think that's what happens too with, obviously you guys have been going for a lot longer than I have, but there was a lot of, another douchey thing, right? Brand building. There was a lot of brand building with myself that I didn't know I was doing, and I started painting and dressing different projects that were, a lot of projects were rehab projects and stuff that we didn't do from the ground up, just to put like a signature on there, or, do some door panels, or, small quick jobs. And some of those projects from the past are just things that now I build stuff in the trajectory of engaging future projects to come in from that build, and it's like a portfolio piece. So you want to be taking every step you take where you're investing time and resources into something should be something that you want to do a similar version of following that, and it's the same thing with some of that's just, that was great for then, and that's nothing I'd be interested in now. That's not, it needs to be what we're doing now. So it's just weeding it out.
It's an interesting transition because some of those guys are super nice, but you're like, hey, we don't do that anymore. So you got to find somebody else. So it's, again, another level of a weird breakup where they're just so sad because they love stopping in. And we had a gentleman in this morning. He just wants to stop in and chat, and this is the highlight of his day. But little does he know, as soon as we finish his car, that's the end of the road for him. Like, we're not interested. Like, that's like an older hot rod project, and it's like not where we want to be anymore. So
it's like
you could still bill him for coming in.
Toss around that idea off.
It's like consultation fee.
Yeah. No, but
it's like weekly allotment.
It's like those projects that you did start with, and it's not like a negative thing when you're like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Like that doesn't make sense with where I'm going mentally with the business, and creatively. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be a bad situation. You're just like, I'm not doing that. I'm in a really good space. You can take your stuff, go and be proud of it. But this just doesn't make sense to do anymore.
And then they want to know where you would take it. Well, where would you take it? And you're like,
the guys are the clients are so emotionally tied, at least most of them, that then you're rejecting the shit out of them. You're an asshole. Yeah. Whether you want to work on it or not, you guys are assholes.
I'm getting good at it though. I've been in this really heavy duty internet training for like the last year and a half since we started doing social media stuff. So every once in a while I dip in and go to war with somebody, and I just So I wonder if they ever like consider that, because there'll be like 500 comments and I'll only go in on one guy.
I've seen it firsthand. Elvis, have you ever thought about doing 75 hard?
No, actually.
I'm glad you talked him into doing it.
If you want the most immediate change, like a guarantee I would stand on for you. I would man up and I'd do 75 hard with a baby and everything right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm serious, man. Yeah. I think that you would get all of the stuff we've talked about if I could, like, it hit me a little later, and I'm like, if you could just do one thing right now that's a guarantee, if you did 75 hard, you would come out the other end and you'd be like, that was terrible and I did it and I feel awesome and I'm clear and I'm like, discipline's there, and I get shit. Like, I've watched it with my guys, I've watched it with myself to the point of I know it's a guarantee.
Wow.
And you could always chew on that. I know everything in you will make an excuse, but that's just what we do. And it's, if you thought about something, fuck, man, that would probably be life-changing for you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it then. I'm gonna do it.
You'll say that now.
Yeah,
I know. I echo that entirely. Like, it is a powerful tool. It really is.
Yeah.
And
it's just it's weird because the outside noise. I don't see a lot of the haters and noise, but I'm sure, when people talk about being a vegan, right, and they believe in it so hard, you're like, You know, the way you know someone's a vegan is because they tell you. And it's the same thing with 75 Hard. I just know the results are there. It's not like a.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, it works for some people. It's if you do it and you have the integrity and you hold yourself accountable, because nobody's there to hold you accountable. So you could lie through it. If you fucked up, you could just lie, but you won't get the benefit of being stringent at the end. That's a 100% guarantee.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna do
Something to think about.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Elvis,
I'm
if you
doing
say you're
it.
gonna do it, you gotta.
I'm gonna do it.
Integrity.
It's out in the world now. Now you
Yeah,
gotta do
I'm
it.
doing it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've heard about it. Like Rob had, and you did it too. Both of you did it.
Oh, I never did.
No,
it.
okay. I think Rob did it.
Spencer did it.
And yeah, Spencer did it, and it was pretty cool to also ask them too. It's like, ooh, like, have you messed up yet? Have you fumbled yet? And who was it? Was it you that started again?
I fucked up once. I fucked up on day 40. I had to keep on going.
On 35, I think.
Yeah, I did. I fucking one day, it was my birthday, and my wife and I went out. I ended up having like some sort of like caramel popcorn, and I was like, son of a bitch.
And then you started again.
But like you said, accountability, the integrity of knowing you fucked up, just keep going. Powerful tool. Yeah. I try to get the boys to do it, or everybody to do it.
I'm doing it now. It's out there. So
I hate, I wouldn't push it on you, but we can talk about motivation and discipline and stuff, but if there was one like turnkey thing, you could literally download this app and, talk to your family and your guys and just say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I got to block out this time. I'm going to do this. And you just commit to that. And it's just that it's a super solid guarantee. And it might be something where, now you just can't shut up because you're like, yeah, after 75 hard, I just said, it's dark for I'm working on a car. And it was raining, but I looked at the weather in advance and then I bought a shelter and I'm, like, dude, you might turn into this crazy sharp knife.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that. And so, I appreciate all the words of wisdom, as they say. But,
well, it's nice to have an outside perspective telling the same kind of thing that.
Oh, yeah.
We're grinding on them all the time.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Now we just gotta reach out to Andy for that First Form sponsorship over here.
I was gonna say, like, I was like, dude.
okay.
There you go. I haven't tried them yet. I have never seen them up here.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze.
Freeze.
Yeah, frozen.
It's perfect though. It's just hanging there.
I know. It's like literally you couldn't have. That's so funny.
Is it gonna fix itself?
I don't know. It usually does after a little bit. I don't know if
is that a sign?
Is your phone?
I think that might be, man.
Is your phone overheating?
No, it's good. I put it in the shade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's sick.
it should fix itself.
99%, but it's not. Dude, maybe what if I go no Wi-Fi? Is it gonna fuck something?
Oh, maybe. No, it should be fine.
Is that the flavor that makes you punch holes in the drywall?
No, that's
No.
the monster.
Yeah.
Oh, your video feed just. Oh, no.
When again?
Oh no, it's
Still hear you.
Yeah, I would still hear you perfectly.
I know. That's got to be a sign, right?
I know.
Oh,
Yeah, this is
Talking, or what do we do?
this has been a really great conversation, Morgan. This is most definitely we never really touched on cars much at all, but
No.
I would have to say that this definitely qualifies as modify your life better.
get your projects.
Yeah,
We rarely have the opportunity to have conversations like this with other people other than our own little circle. So it's nice, it's refreshing, and it feels good.
Yeah.
It's really cool to hear about the big leaps forward in your personal life, your business life. It's awesome. It's very inspiring.
Before you close me out, the one thing I want to talk about is the step I'm going to take with the Dakar prototype that you guys kind of, you're shaping the foam on the back of the Mustang.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to take on, like Ryan and I have talked about, I'm going to clay sculpt the whole body on it myself.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm going to I'm going to document it all, just like I would. And where our new shop's going to be, I'm going to have this beautiful area to roll it outside and look at it and then roll it back in. And
Clay sculpt. That's awesome. Yeah.
dude, I'm going to do it full automotive design style, like my hopes and dreams and pipe dreams failed when I was in college, and Mario, my buddy, he's at Ford right now, and he's like the chief design director for their clay sculpting program.
So you have all the tips, tricks, everything you could ever hope to have.
Resources.
That is amazing.
So yeah, Robbie Woods and myself, and then Mario is going to help me, and then I'm going to do a full body on it, both sides, and then we're going to pull carbon off that thing, but I'm going to do it from my soul. I'm going to just sculpt that whole body on there. So probably in 2 months I'm going to start a program like that.
That's incredible. I hope that everyone listening or watching this follows along on your journey as you document that. It is an amazing project, an artistic outlet. Sculpting is really, really cool. I only ever do it on small scale.
Yeah,
that's a lot of clay.
To see the way they have been doing it forever, and that's full sculpting a car is going to be that's going to be so satisfying, I'm sure.
Yeah,
totally. And it's not a ton of clay. It's really more foam. And then once you get it really close, the clay is for the definitive details.
I see. Okay.
Yep. So you'll like chunk everything foam wise, and then right when you want to say maybe there's, I wish I could say it in centimeters, but when there's an inch or so, then I'd put clay on top, and then if we need to do aggressive changes, then we'd have to cut it out and then reclay it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So, but it's it's always a pleasure talking to you guys, and I'm pissed that we're stuck on this thing.
I know, right? Literally.
Well, so
this is for Andy.
Yeah. Make sure to tag him in this one so you can see that.
Yeah, Andy, both of us need help here, okay?
Hit us up.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna say we can also we'll have a fourth podcast, so that's totally fine.
This will be our Modify Yourself series of podcasts.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Yeah,
it's always great to talk with you, Morgan.
Yeah, and then maybe in the next episode we can also talk, or the next one we can talk when maybe you've got into the process of forming the flares or the body pretty much. So that should be very interesting.
I know exactly when we should talk. It should be when you finish 75 hard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll see what happens. Yes, I'm very interested.
It could very well be 76 days from now.
That's right. Okay, deal. Yeah, deal. We'll set something in the calendar for 76 days from now.
Write it down.
Yeah.
That's right.
Elvis, if you need anything and you need help or advice on that, you have my number. And
yes,
you get. I mean, I don't care if you want to just cry to me or scream on the phone of how much you hate things,
but not too much.
I know, right?
Those are billable hours.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, you guys. Well, it's always a pleasure.
Same. Yes. Yeah. Okay. We will see you later. Thank you all so much for watching this video / podcast or listening to it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't follow Morgan on Instagram, he's at Morgan Clarke Design. And what?
Morgan Clarke Design 1.
Design 1. Whoops. One job. I had one job. Okay. And you can follow us at Trick Factory Customs. We will see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.